You ever think you see something out the corner of your eye, something crazy like a UFO or a specter or a chupacabra or something like that, and then you turn and there's nothing there and you're like, nah. Greetings, people of the internet. I'm Scott with Serkworks Art Labs. Welcome, mad creators, to the underground laboratory where we create robots, aliens, zombies, and other imminent threats to humanity. We are going to do a robot today. We're going to do another blueprint robot, but I got a crazy story that kind of happened to me, and it's kind of like, it's like a mystery. And it's one that I actually solved, and it wasn't something I was trying to solve. It just later kind of came to me. It kind of unfolded. So I want to tell you about that and how it ties into marketing yourself, marketing your artwork, because that's something I think as independent artists or aspiring artists or professional artists or whatever kind of artist you are, you're always trying to promote yourself and get your work out there and let people see it. So I'm going to tie this all in while I do a blueprint sketch of a kaiju, a robot kaiju, and that may sort of play into what I'm talking about too as well. I'm throwing a lot of stuff at you, but hopefully it will all come together in the end and you'll see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to get to it right now. Okay, so let's get started on another blueprint drawing. We're going to draw a giant lizard this time, and if you know anything about these blueprints drawings, I know I do, that you know that they are all robots, so it's going to be a giant mecha kaiju. So what I use for this process, I'll just let you know up front before we kind of delve into the topic. The tools I use just like a blue cardstock, heavy stock paper, Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White. It is a white ink, and I will leave links to all this stuff. And I'm just using a Cotman watercolor brush. So one of the questions I get asked a lot is, how do I promote myself as an artist? How do I get out there? How do I let people know about the things that I do, my artwork and everything? And it's kind of a weird question because there are certain tactics and everything that you can do to get your work out in front of people. But what I always like to tell people, and it's in some ways it's kind of a non-answer or a cheat, but it really is, when you think about it, really is the best advice I can give you, because we're artists. We're all artists, and it's our jobs to be creative. So when it comes to marketing ourselves, we need to take that same creativity and put that into our promotion. And so again, I want to tell you this crazy story, and it's about one of probably the best marketing tactics or the best promotions, the best advertisements that I have seen in my life. And it's pretty cool. So so first off, I want to kind of set the stage a little bit. So have you ever been, just driving along in your car, and then you're just driving along, and then you see this awesome car. Maybe it's a classic, or maybe it's this crazy hot rod, or this futuristic kind of car that you've never seen. And I'm not really a car guy, but that kind of stuff just makes you look and like wow and wonder and everything. And I'm sure people that drive these cars, they're always getting people rolling down their windows. Man, I love your car, all that kind of stuff, and and it sparks up tons of conversation. But typically, the person driving that car isn't really selling anything. So imagine if you have something like that just can't help to just get people's attention, but it's also your business. It's also something you're selling. So anyway, so here's the story. So I'm driving home and pulling into my house. There's a kind of a big park there and everything. I'm kind of pulling in around the park, just around the corner, and off to the corner of my eyes, I see something crazy, and I'm like, you ever seen those like kind of horse trailers or whatever or something like that? I wasn't really paying attention at first, and I thought I saw something. I'm like, no, man, it can't be. And I'm thinking, what I thought I saw in this thing was like a dinosaur, and I'm like, no, that can't be it. And then it's got to be like a camel or a llama or something weird like that. But it's in this cage, and it's being pulled by this truck, and it just happened so fast. And then the opposite, where this guy was going, the light turned green and it took off, and I'm trying to look around and see it, and it was like gone before I knew it. And I was like, I don't know what the heck that was. So So anyway, and and I thought about turning around and going after him, and I kind of wish I did, but I didn't, because I really wanted to know what the heck this thing was, because in my mind, I don't know if my mind was playing tricks on me or what, but it looked like a dinosaur. And so, I go home a couple days, and I kind of forget about it. So later, I got sort of this invite to be featured in this online magazine. It's a local magazine. They focus different things, and so they've got these different stories of these different creative people and different businesses and everything. And there's one for the city that I live in, and so I go in there, and I see this guy, and it's a feature on his business. And what he did was he built these, I guess, sort of semi-animatronic dinosaurs, and he must have had some special effects background, because these things looked incredible, so lifelike. And you've kind of seen, if you've seen kind of the Walking with Dinosaurs kind of thing, you may have seen something like that. And it looks like it's sort of a combination of puppetry and sort of like animatronic, like the facial features, but I assume there's a person in this costume. So what this guy does is he hosts like parties, and he does events and things like that. And I know when my kids were growing up, we would hire people to do crazy things. If this was around when my kids were, my boys especially, they were huge. For the longest time, they wanted to be paleontologists until eventually they discovered video games, but that's another story. But anyway, so if they would have had something like this, I mean, I would have shelled out whatever I had to do, because you want to do cool stuff for your kids. And we had a reptile expert come out, and he brought snakes and reptiles and things once, and then we did this kind of game truck that was this big giant tractor trailer with all these screens on one thing, and you sit on, and there's a bench on the other side of the tractor trailer, and you just go in and play video games. So we would do that kind of stuff. But if this thing was around then, but it was just, this guy's business was really incredible, and it was kind of one of those things like, man, I wish I would have thought of that. So here's the thing. Not only does this guy have this incredible idea for this business, but the way he advertises it just kind of blew me away. And I'm like, this is just brilliant, because, he could have just got like sort of an enclosed trailer and everything, and maybe even put like vinyl graphics and everything on the side of it. And, that would have been cool, like, dinosaur experience, and show pictures of everything. But he went a step further. What he did was he built this paddock. Paddock, is it pronounced paddock? I don't know. You know what I'm talking about. The thing that encloses these wild animals or whatever. You've seen them in Jurassic Park where they're bringing in the raptors. So he built this sort of cage as his trailer, and he's got the dinosaurs in the back, and I assume there's no one inside them at that point because they're driving kind of down the street in this trailer. But like I said, I guess they're semi-animatronic or whatever, but it seemed like they were moving, and I only caught it, like I said, for a split second. But so this guy is driving around the street, and I just saw it for a split second, but if you imagine anyone driving by this guy hauling these dinosaurs in the back of his truck is going to be like just amazed. And just think of the advertising power that's going to do. Everywhere he goes, people are going to see that thing, and they're going to hire him. And I'm sure this guy is booked up. He started here. I guess he's going to be branching out into, I guess he's moving into Seattle, but I'm sure this guy is just going to franchise this thing all over the place. I'd really like to talk to him. I might see if I can contact him and just hit him up just because it is so brilliant. But anyway, so that's kind of the story. And I just want us to think about things like that when we're promoting our artwork. It's kind of the saying, think outside of the box, is kind of cliche nowadays, but how, that general idea, however you want to phrase that, that's what we need to do. We need to think, just use our imaginations as creative people when we're promoting ourselves, because it's always the crazy things that we see either on a viral video that we've never seen before. People doing, I did a video on something like this before, but people doing artwork out of just crazy, materials and mediums and things that we've never seen before. And that's the kind of stuff that just pulls our attention in or whatever. But we really need to think like this guy with this crazy dinosaur business. And so I'm going to put a link to his actual thing, so if you want to go to his website and check it out, because it is super cool. But so that's the story, and that just really made me think, man, I got to step up my game, because this guy's killing it with this idea. So how can I take that and apply it to what I'm doing with Serkworks and the Mad Scientist Supply Company and that whole thing? And haven't come up with a great idea like that yet, but I'm thinking, and I will. And I'm sure you guys will be around when I do. So yeah, awesome stuff, man. Okay, so there you have it. There is the Mecha Kaiju. Of course, Kaijus, these huge monsters towering over the city. So it makes us think, we got to think big when we're thinking about marketing ourselves, because that's what gets noticed. I mean, you're not going to miss something like this roaming down the city streets because it's massive. So that's kind of, we need to kind of put ourselves in that mindset where we're thinking about marketing ourselves, something that nobody else has done. And I know that's kind of hard, but even if you get the craziest ideas, sometimes you can kind of play with that and find a way to make it reality or a spin on that or whatever. So really try to think big when you're thinking about marketing yourself and see how, what ways can we implement that, something that no one else is doing, and that's what's going to get us noticed. And of course, there's no, there's when you're marketing yourself, there's certain ways to do it, but those are the ways everyone else is doing as well. So we really need to start thinking big. So think like a kaiju, think big, and I will see you guys later. That is all. Hey everyone, thanks for joining me here in the Art Lab. There's a lot of other great content on the channel, so click that subscribe button and you won't miss a thing. If you're an aspiring evil genius, visit Serkworks.com for all your mad science supply needs. And if you want to contact me, hit me up in the comments section or follow me on social media. I'm looking forward to it. I'll see you then.